we talk a lot about Lego pieces and building on a structure and kind of like building up your system. And that's where we get this concept of a house. So we're going to start by talking about the foundation, the basics of your system and your solution and how that's going to help drive customer experience. But that's just the beginning. So I like to say I get to go first, so I'll just keep going. Sometimes I tell clients that this is the boring part, right? You have to start here with the traditional CRM components, but that laying this foundation is what's going to build the success for all of your future steps. You really need to get the foundation right. Too often we find that leaders or even sales team members want to skip ahead. They want to skip what I like to call the edit process and throw hundreds of fields on forms and try to collect as much information as possible. But what that does is it really takes your sales team from driving sales, building that interaction and making that human connection, and it just makes them data entry stewards. And as a lazy salesperson, I hate that. Okay, it's just like not my job. That's not where I'm going to bring value to my organization. So what we like to do is help you build and cater those forms and cater your system to your needs. And that's kind of that foundational piece. From there, you can do cool things. So at a foundational basic level, you can start to prioritize the higher potential leads with lead scoring and lead models. So this is tying in a little bit of what we talked about last week from the marketing side of things as well. This is also going to allow you to streamline that handoff from sales, or to sales, I should say, by connecting all of your data and integrating everything into one place. That's going to be a really common theme you hear throughout today's presentation, but this idea that whatever marketing is gathering, let's give that to sales and let's not make them re-enter all of that same information. Let them continue to build off of that. And then they can kind of zoom out. And this is an example from, marketing, seeing all of the ways that that customer or that company is interacting with my company. So I know as a human, I can speak to the humans I'm trying to sell to say, hey, I see you saw this email. I see you've looked at our website. Something else you might be interested in is XYZ. So just really driving that customer experience to show the customer, hey, we're paying attention. We understand what you're interested in. And these are ways that we can help you solve your business problems. Sarah Jo.
Yeah, well, and to jump in, and kind of lean into that natural interaction we're trying to create with each customer, right? That we need our salespeople to focus on the customer and their priorities. And so this is kind of where the rubber begins to meet the road. So I'll talk about Sales Accelerator and Sales Insights and some of the capabilities there, because we do need to let salespeople do what comes naturally to them. And all of this layer above the foundation really helps them do that in a very natural, native way. So Sales Accelerator, just real quickly, is a quick way for your team to prioritize a list of customers based on what they should interact with next. So this is an AI-driven, intelligent view that can exist and surface the right things to the top of the list. Britt, if you want to bump me forward into Sales Insights.
My favorite.
All right, so yeah, this is the real stuff here. Talking points. So talking points are those conversation starters. This is a way for us to analyze and automatically identify recent events that may have come through email, where someone might be talking about their personal life. Oh, I have a vacation coming up, or my kid has a sports event tonight, right? This will surface a quick view of talking points to a salesperson to hone in on like the real human aspect, like Britt mentioned. Moving into who knows whom, I think this is one of my favorite features. This is that good, solid introduction structure. So if you think about like what cold calls used to look like in the 90s, right? And you know when a salesperson is on the other end of the phone. What's cool about this is that this will use collaboration and communication patterns in Microsoft 365 Exchange to calculate and tell your salesperson, hey, here's who at this organization already knows your customer, might be able to give you a warm introduction, get your foot in the door, which really makes for a much more natural interaction where it's like, hey, John told me I should talk to you, versus like, hi, I'm selling XYZ. It's really kind of shifts that narrative. Notes analysis. So this one's pretty cool too. Seeing the shift that Microsoft is making here. what will happen is notes analysis will let us painlessly and intuitively review text that's highlighted and displayed here to quickly create activities, contacts, meeting, content requests. So if you drop a little handwritten note that says, I will schedule a meeting with you next week, this is going to make sure you get your meeting scheduled, right? And
I need
really
this.
do
I
that,
need this, Sarah Jo.
really do that follow up. Opportunity and leads. I know Britt talked a little bit about lead scoring, and we certainly talked about it last week in marketing, but this is available for opportunities too. So I want to make sure that we highlight that. This is that we don't want salespeople to have to do in-depth analysis to figure out what they should work on next and what their top and hot opportunities are. You know, in the past and in the foundation, it's like, oh, I'm self-setting this as hot, medium, cold. No, let's use AI to tell them, yeah, you've been tracking on this one, and you're moving this one forward. Pick it up and finish it and get it across the finish line. Moving into conversation intelligence, this is also like phenomenal, right? And we've seen a lot of these features come into Teams, and so think of it in terms of that real-time analytics that helps us analyze data and information. So this one will essentially monitor data and your clients' interactions with your organization to understand, like, what are your customers talking about? Are there things that we can view and glean in sales calls on best practices? So it will monitor calls and really help sales managers shape the business by giving smarter coaching tips and the ability to analyze performance and what type of conversations, what type of keywords will help us sell. Relationship analytics. So this one, we've seen it before, but they've definitely done some enhancements in recent years. But this graphical display of KPIs and activity history is like, imagine zooming out, right? Like, I just want a big picture of every point of interaction that that a particular customer has with an organization. This is the place to consume that information. So I like to think of this as a director and above type level of reporting that's so insightful.
And I just have to jump in, Sarah Jo, because so much of where people stop is they stop at that foundation and then they wonder why their internal customers, the sales team, isn't using the tool. Everything you've just covered, including this relationship analytics, makes me want to use it as a salesperson. It makes me want to track my activities. It makes me want to track my notes because I'm getting all of this back at me. If I put the information in, the system's going to say, follow up on this opportunity. You're more likely to close this one this quarter than this one. It helps me delegate my time and goes back to the thing I always say, don't have your system work for your people, but your people, or sorry, don't have your people work for your system. Have your system work for your people.
Yeah, no, the other thing that I love about that too, Britt, is that it kind of fits in my mind into like natural rhythms that salespeople automatically have, right? It's not like it's not like this framework forces them to go do more. It's really that it's so supplemental and just kind of fits right into what a good selling life cycle looks like.
Well, I like to say when you drive data, you should drive data into the system by selling the way you want to sell, and that's exactly what you're saying, Britt. This is not your old legacy do data entry so your manager knows what you're doing type of system, as you can see with all these features.
Yeah. Another awesome tool here, very similar to kind of notes analysis, but auto capture. So this one, it will kind of almost take it a step further. So essentially with this tooling, we can auto capture activities related to a salesperson's emails and contacts and display it right on the timeline. And the reason that I love this is that, you know, I've never met one salesperson in my entire life, Britt included, who's like, yes, I can't wait to go into CRM today and update all my stuff, right? It's like it's this doom and gloom portion of the week that every salesperson acknowledges, every salesperson feels. What's cool about this is that they're making phone calls, they're sending emails, and that activity that they're doing when it's driven into the AI of sales insights will transform it into an actual activity. So they don't have to go anymore and create an activity and mark complete, right? It's a different world. We're not thinking forms over data anymore. Premium forecasting, just to talk about this, I'm also in love with this feature, mostly because, I think about our goal and goal metrics days of the past, right? Where we're setting this target, we're kind of manually manipulating records, and people are choosing a dollar amount. This AI goes above and beyond. So this tooling helps sellers and managers improve their forecast accuracy by providing forecast projections based on data that includes historical data. How have we sold in the past? So realistically, this isn't just a report of all of your opportunities and when we think they're going to close. It goes a level beyond that, and it's a picture of what can our team deliver, because they've delivered it historically. We've seen trending in the AI and in the data that helps make an intelligent forecast that really can make that forecast achievable. We can help move our team towards this target. And then lastly, the assistant. So this is that it keeps an eye on that daily action and communications. We've seen this before, but really it's those insight cards that can be displayed prominently throughout the application and provide those tailored and actionable insights. And so bringing it all back to customer experience, what the important key point is here is like, let's let salespeople do their job, and then just capture all of this info for them, right? So that they can easily tee up the right products at the right time to the right people.
They're building that positive experience through the interactions they have.
Absolutely. Yep. They're making it really easy for their customer to interact.
And where do salespeople work, Sarah Jo?
Well, that's it. So because salespeople don't like being driven somewhere else, right? They're in Teams every day. They're in Outlook every day. They're on the road and they're traveling via mobile. And so Teams via Dynamics 365 has just boomed here. We're recognizing that so many apps are really coming into the landscape of Teams and needing to be a part of that infrastructure. And so this is an example of how we can do that with D365. In Outlook, we have our app for Outlook functionality, being able to kind of quick see that pane and quickly log the things that are important to us and follow up. And then
this is where I added all my contacts and opportunities. It's so easy.
Yeah. And then from a mobile functionality perspective, this is that new Sales Hub for mobile. It is like chef's kiss, like this clean, easy to interact with. You'll notice if you look at the middle one there where it's like, I have my Outlook calendar. I could just go here and manage my day from this app in a super effective way. And it's just such a great interaction. And this will surface any existing builds.
I love this because it's all about internal customer experience, right? Like we think so hard about how do our external customers feel about us, but our internal customers, our sales team needs love. Just ask me. We need some love too. So.
Yeah. So from a measurement standpoint, you obviously know, reporting and analytics comes with Dynamics 365. There are rich capabilities here, but the cool part is that we have that Power BI layer we can throw on top. So moving into that reporting and analytics using Power BI, you can pull that data, related data that sits in another application, integrate it into Power BI, and really provide one good picture for not just salespeople, but their managers, directors, all of the folks up the chain that need to know what's happening. And then the other piece here too, I wanted to highlight, right, on top of like big, heavy integrations, there's a multitude of connectors available in this universe, right, that will just help us reach every potential area of your business, even when it's not within the Microsoft infrastructure. So thinking about creative ways for you to create that customer experience in other applications that your customers are natively using and that match their native patterns of how they serve information up. I Google something on my phone when I want to know it, or I'll go to my social apps and engage there. And so being able to connect that universe to your Microsoft landscape is so powerful.
Get more information to your salespeople.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, that's important. And I think, realistically, we've been living in these silos of information. So we've got the marketing and the sales team living here, whether that be a spreadsheet or some type of CRM system. Then we've got our customer service and our support team living over here. And then we've got our finance and supply chain, the ERP crowd kind of living over here. And because they're in different systems, these brick walls, I'm really proud of this graphic, by the way, these brick walls get put up between these systems, and the teams are all working independently, and they rely on alternate tools, whether that be a phone call, sending multiple emails, logging into another system. We toured a client recently, and some of their customer service team members or their salespeople had like 4 monitors because they had to be in so many different systems at once just to really provide that solid customer experience. So this is the expectation our customers have. Our customers are here in the middle, and they expect that you've got answers to any question related to your company, your products, your team at any time. You should have that information at your fingertips, ideally on the same screen and accessible at any minute. And it's not possible with today's, existing reality to meet this expectation. So I love that Microsoft has thought about this, and I think anyone that's been working with the Microsoft product now for as long as the 3 of us have, this is the promise we were told from the beginning, but it's here. This is an example of utilizing order management between sales and finance and operations, the enterprise ERP solution. So you can see they've thought about this. All of this information is meant to go back and forth. It is meant to push, pull. It's meant to provide those snapshots and that information so that the sales team can start with a quote and push it to an order, that order status can be updated so I can see in real time where my orders are. I can see what's been invoiced. Accounting doesn't have to tell me that my customer is late on payment because I'm going to see that, so that when I log into the tool that I'm using every day, I already have all of the information I need. I don't need to be in the ERP system.
Yeah, this is such an important point, Britt, that I want to jump in on and double down on. In this world, because salespeople have to fight tooth and nail, right? If you think of how sellers are engaging with the market, they might go to an Amazon, right? They don't care. They might see the exact same product for the exact same price. It's like, well, which one's going to get there the fastest? That's the one that wins, right? And so because of that transactional nature, salespeople are really, really focused on customer experience and making sure that they follow that customer all the way through, way beyond order and fulfillment to like, hey, how's it working for you? I want to follow up. And so more and more, we're saying that order visibility for salespeople is just a critical crux, right? They need to be able to keep their pulse on, are we delivering on what we promised? And it's so key to customer experience.
We are seeing that so much. You're right, Sarah Jo. Quick.
Sorry, I bumped you ahead. It used to be a nice to have. It's now a requirement.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Like, there is no such thing as a project anymore where you're implementing a sales system that isn't providing the sales team information from your ERP. It's just, you're stopping too soon.
If your customer's not getting an email or a text saying your order is confirmed, you are not building a positive
and an
customer.
immediate phone call from their buddy saying like, I say their buddy, their salesperson, right? Following up and, hey, I saw that it's on its way. I just think there's so much value in customer experience that goes well beyond when we throw it over the wall to fulfillment, and we're just seeing it over and over and over again.
Okay, so I bumped us ahead to this one because we're running out of time, but I feel like some of what we said, a lot of people are going to stop at that foundation and they didn't realize they need to frame it up, serve their internal customers, and then kind of to get to that finishing step. Everyone does the foundation and then they want the finish. So give us some hope, Sarah Jo, because it's a lot that we covered, and can people even do this? Is it possible to do this?
Yeah, I mean, that's really where partners like Stoneridge come into play. And it is 100% our bread and butter to touch every single one of these portions of the Dynamics 365 landscape and ensure that you are creating that positive customer experience end to end, not just in sales, although we know that is like our main primary tool that we want to drive customer experience. But if you think about all of the channels that your customers engage with your organization through, we have to tie it all together. And that's really where Stoneridge gets in the mix. It's really taking all of those elements of the Power Platform. I left a couple out for purposes and examples here, but there's just so much for us to use and in terms of tools and AI to connect to those universes.
I love it. All right, Matt, So we want to talk about everyone needs to build that foundation. Pay attention. Don't just create data entry for your sales team. Also make sure that you're really framing that out and serving your internal customers, creating that good customer experience for your salespeople so they can in turn bring the humanity back with that technology, really enable them. Then listen to what your customers are telling you. They're telling you in so many different ways on their buying patterns. They're telling you through your web forms and your website and social media. They're telling you in responses to surveys or if they need service. So really listen, and then just drive that primary customer communication through your system so that you can take advantage of all of those analytics.